Let me call this meeting to order. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the September 27th council meeting. Ms. Sarcisi, will you show that the clock reads 7:34 p.m.? Ms. Sarcisi, can you call the roll?
Mr. Barker?
Here.
Ms. Darrow?
Here.
Mr. Engel?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Molnar?
Here.
I would like to ask Nick Molnar to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and invite Mike Miller to say our invocation for tonight's meeting.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, grant us the wisdom to do your will. Grant us the wisdom to listen to each other and the residents who make our positions possible. Grant us the wisdom to make sound judgments, and grant us the wisdom to work to make life more livable here in Macedonia. Let us be a beacon in these uncertain times to our neighbors and visitors, and may we be comfort to those and to them in their times of trouble and need. Please be with our dedicated employees and those that choose to fail in their task. May you uplift them in times of temptation and despair. Help all our employees to reach their personal potential in serving our blessed residents. Amen. Amen.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any changes to the minutes? If not, do I have a motion to? We don't have any. I'm sorry about that. All right, let's move.
I didn't print them off. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, we're going to go to the part of our program where we have public comments. If you sign up now, you will be allowed to make public comments, and we ask you to limit the time on them, because lately it's been getting to the point where we get many comments that go on and on and on for all night. So there will be a time limit imposed. Please try and make it brief and to the point. This evening for public comments, we have Ed Morris. Ed Morris, would you come forward, please?
I'm Ed Morris, 9516 Ledge Acres Road. I just would like to urge council, we have an ordinance in front of you tonight, number 71, 2012, dealing with electric signs. And I wish you would take a good hard look at this and choose not to adopt it. We updated the sign ordinances 6 months, 9 months ago, and we felt that if you control the electronic signs so they don't sit there, flash like a beacon, that all they do is present information. They do give a business that wants to have one, I think, a little bit of a foot up on the guy that does it. And the other side of it is if you pass this ordinance, there's a 5-year, you're going to make all the other signs non-conforming, in which they have 5 years to bring themselves back into conformance, which means they would have to eliminate themselves. And that includes the gas stations with price changes, Walgreens, Solhar's. That's just something to be aware of, maybe an unintended comment. The other thing is, I was at the meeting last week listening to everybody, I guess, rag on council about the Manor House and everything else. I kind of want to congratulate you guys, only in the sense that I don't think anybody up there really wants to tear the Manor House down. And I think you've gone probably about as far as you can go, you know, delaying that process, hoping somebody will come forward. And I think you should be commended for that. You know, it's been there, I don't know, 25 years, 30 years, something like that. I do think, though, that you need to take a look and find something that's gonna bring it to an end, one way or the other. Either appropriate money to repair it or tear it down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Morris.
Next is Sylvia Hannikin.
Hi, Sylvia Hannikin, Hampton Drive, Macedonia. I'm here to comment on the proposed ordinance that would raise the mayor's salary effective December 1st, 2015, which is the beginning of the next mayor's term. A couple of things about this that I think make this questionable and bad timing. Recently, I received the city salary survey from the Ohio Municipal League, and I reviewed all of the cities of our size between 10 and 13,000, and I eliminated those cities. There's 21 of them. Eliminated 10 of them because they have city managers where the administrative duties are in the city manager function. So going to those cities, there's 11 of them that have mayors. They're of our size. They're throughout the state. The average salary is $53,000. So let's put it this way. We don't have an emergency in terms of raising that salary. We do have, it doesn't mean that we couldn't pay more for our mayor than an average. Not saying that, we could. But before we push ahead with the idea of it, it's 3 years earlier, and we need to worry about it. And we just 2 meetings ago committed to reviewing a city manager form of government, which would, as I looked at all of the cities that do have city managers, they do have a mayor, but they have primarily either an ombudsman mayor or a ceremonial mayor. So as we consider this, I think the better choice would be to review the city manager form of government in detail and make a determination in that area. And then, as we make a decision in the broader areas about the mayor's salary, we'll do it in the right context. Since it was a 6-0 resolution that was passed here, motion, I think this is the time to just put this to the side and then let's review city manager form. That's something that I think is well worth looking at, and I think this whole council has said they think so too. So thank you very much.
Sylvia, the ones you looked at, I'm assuming just because it's an average of 53,000, those were full-time positions? They weren't
Yes,
like...
correct. I eliminated anybody who was
Was
part-time.
part-time, okay. Okay.
For that very reason.
Did you happen to look how much city managers make?
Yes, I had a quick look at it. They are going to be making more than most mayors.
Double?
No. Not
Double.
Not double.
Double.
What I looked at was something on the order, depending on the size of the city, of course.
And, you know,
That's
there's a lot of things that can be said both ways.
Well, sure.
City managers are professionals, but they answer to council. The mayor answers to council and the people. All right, next is Kurt Laubinger.
Thank you. I'm going to talk on ordinance 34. I brought a handout and asked Josephine to please pass it out so when I'm speaking you can do it. I'm going to try to make this fast. I'll cut some of this back. I understand there's a football game people want to go to and so forth. I understand it. My point tonight is to address council, and Nick, you as council president. I'm not here to bash council, anybody on council. I'm not here to do anything to any service department heads, building department heads, or anything like that. I've worked with Mike before on a lot of things, and like Ken, I respect him. I've known him for over 30 years. I'm not here to do any of that whatsoever. And for the record, all my statements this evening, Josephine, and please mark them down, they are my opinion. Ordinance 34, which has been passed out to you, I trust at one time or another, all of you have read this as it was passed on May 10th of this year. As I understand the ordinance, the reason that it was created was to keep tabs on the condition of rental properties in the city, and 2, so we would know who was living in these rental properties. I believe I'm correct in saying the city already has an ordinance that requires all property owners who rent, commercial and residential, to keep the city notified at all times who's occupying their properties. This was passed many years ago. It was only briefly enforced. The new administration came in and it went by the wayside, as I recall. So we already have that there to know not only who's in rental, living in the houses, but we know who's in our office buildings, who's in some of these other buildings that we have in town. I think that's important. If you want to know who's living here, we ought to know who's working here also, especially when it's not a Walmart, we have offices and so forth. That being said, the ordinance really would only have to keep check on the appearance of residential rental properties. Now, if we could please look at the ordinance that I've given you. I don't understand it. I got the copy from the building department, and I'd just like to mention a couple things here. This ordinance 34 was passed on 5/10 of 12. It's for the point of sale, exterior inspection. It's following that, which is 1327. Also, in yellow, I have the fees. I got this specifically to show my tenants why I'm charging them $75 for an inspection. I don't see anything in this ordinance that says $75 or establishes any fees. I don't see it here. The $75 I know you talked about, I don't know where it came from, but it's there. Further down in section 1, you're clarifying how this ties into 1327. Exhibit A. Where is Exhibit A? What does Exhibit A say? Nobody's given it. I want to know what it says. Then it says effective starting date is September 1st of 2012. Then down at the bottom we go further. It says it's to take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Well, I don't understand that, because it's saying up here we're going to start this on September 1st. I think you ought to start this thing in the springtime. You're starting inspections now to go out. Who's going to paint their house now? Who's going to do all this stuff? We're getting into cold. If you don't get it done, you can do 90 days. An extension. 90 days, an extension goes until December or January. You're still not getting it done. This date is not, it's not doable. I think it's a problem. Then we can go look at the letter, which I have attached, that was sent out by the building department. The first one was sent out on August 6th. I never got my copy. It doesn't matter. I got the second notice. It went out on August 6th. Ordinance says it's to start on September 1st. But it started early. Okay. So then, as you look at it, it says, dear residential property owners. That's not correct. We're talking about dear residential rental property owners. Note that's the September 6th letter. So it went out like that on August 6th, went out on September 6th like that. Okay, by September 6th, look down further. Applications shall be completed by September 1st of 2012. How in the Sam Hills is anybody going to get this type of work done by August 6th or even by September 6th? Then further on, it says may be obtained from the Macedonia Board and Zoning Department. Well, when I requested this, the building department or somebody was nice enough to put a form in there for me to fill out. I assure you, next year, I'm not coming down to the building department to look for a form. I need you to send me the form, just like when your driver's license is renewed. The dentist wants you, they send out a form to do it. You're not going to have people come down there. I'm not coming down. Okay. All right, let me catch up here, if you would, on my notes. Okay, the inspectors come out. Well, first the form was filled out, which was given, and I'm not going to criticize people for this. It's a very generic form. One thing that bothers me about it is you want to know the phone number of my tenants. I'm not willing to give you the phone number of my tenants. They don't want me to give that phone number to anybody. And I think that's true of anyone. This becomes a public record. Anybody wants to come down and pick this up and start calling people and badgering them, oh, you've got to have rental insurance. You need this and you need that. I'm not willing to do that. I don't think anybody should have to give the phone number. I don't have a problem telling you who's there, but I'm not going to give you their phone number. I don't think it's right. I'm not going to do that. Okay, then, when the inspections take place, and I got one back, and I'm not particularly proud of it. It's saying what's wrong, but it was nitpicking. Please. One such thing is that up in one corner of a gutter was a little clog of moss. I blow my gutters out every year. What's this little thing hanging up here bothering anybody for? I have a shed there. The shed doesn't even belong on the rental property. Now, the inspector didn't know that. You know, I need to tell him that. I did. We talked about it. We laughed about it. I'm not mad at the inspectors. I'm not mad at Mike or anybody else for this. But things aren't right. There's moss on the roof of my shed. I like the moss on the roof of my shed. That isn't hurting anybody whatsoever. It's nothing. Now, if I take the moss off the shed, that's okay. Then I'll throw a big blue tarp across the top of the shed on the roof to get rid of the moss. Those blue tarps are terrible. I look out my back kitchen window every day and see a big blue tarp in a guy's backyard covered in firewood. It's terrible. You can't go after people like that in these blue tarps, but you moss on a shed, a little glob of moss up in a gutter like this. Then there was a couple other things. Broken glass. It says broken. When I think about a broken window, I think it's broken out, there's jagged glass and everything. That wasn't the case at all. You can't even see this window, and it's cracked. It's a storm window that goes up and down like this. It goes up in the summertime, and the cracked glass isn't going to be seen, and the screen's going to come down like this. This is nitty-gritty stuff, people. No wonder the residents are angry at us sometimes. This isn't right. When something needs to be painted, fine. I'm embarrassed. There's some scraping that needs to be done. I had 8 rental properties and a big business in town. People come up to my place, you know it. I'm spick and span. I don't fool around. I maintain my stuff. It's going to be painted. It can't get painted. I'm not going to get into a painting program until spring. We should start the program in the springtime. Then we can paint. If it isn't done by September 1st, then you got a problem. But you've got 6 months to repair, or 5 months, what needs to be done to bring it up to standard. Now, keeping that in mind, I've got to say this, and again, I'm not trying to embarrass anybody or anything else. But as you come to me and to the rest of the people in town, and you want us to fix our homes, I pose this question to you. Just how can the city expect property owners to maintain their properties when the city doesn't maintain the city properties that we, the taxpayers, own? I ask you that question. When you leave here tonight, go to the building department. A light post, the bottom of the light post, it's all rusted out. There's a hole I can put my fist through there. You're getting me for some moss? Look at that. Look at the rusted railing that's there that eventually is going to rust through, that needs paint. Look at the gas meter and so forth, how bad that looks. Look at that. As you leave also, look at our drop box out here when you want people to put their papers into the city for letters to the mayor, to council, etc. Look at that rusty thing. That's a poor impression of this city. Now, furthermore, go down the road, take a look at our service garage on 631. We were going to eliminate that or use it as number 2 or whatever it is. Look at the sign. It's a disgrace. The paint's all off of it, everything else. We have a sign department. That doesn't speak well for the sign department of the city or anything else. Go look at the salt shed, how it needs paint, how it's coming apart. Go look at that. It's horrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. And better yet, go on down to the new service building, and I'm saying it's new. The mayor was proud. I bought this from Summit County. Our service department needs something better, et cetera, et cetera. So we bought that building down there. Go down there and look. Look at the door that's so rusty. The building has had no paint on it since we bought it because they had Summit County Maintenance Garage up there. The letters were pulled off. It's never been painted over. It's horrible, people. Go down and look. That's my tax money. The doors are rusted. This is done. There's been no maintenance on some of these buildings and stuff around here. I'll maintain my property, but I think the city needs to maintain their property. You owe the people of Macedonia an apology for the way these buildings look and so forth, and our tax dollars are going to that. Please, I think we all need to work together to make a better looking Macedonia, but it's going to have to start with the city and fix their buildings first. They are terrible when you go look at some of this stuff. When you expect us to do our little things and fix it, fine. The big major things are disgrace to look at. Go down there and look at that building down there on Twinsburg Road. It is horrible. I don't think any of you running for council would use that for a photo op and put it on your literature next year when you're running. It's embarrassing. I'm ashamed to show stuff around the city the way we take care of, we, meaning staff, whatever, the city's buildings, which are our buildings, not yours. They belong to the city of Macedonia. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Kirk.
All right, there's no further public comments this evening, so we're going to move right.
Excuse me, Mayor, I had one thing on the end. I would ask council to please take a look at ordinance 34 and maybe put a hold on that until you can work the bugs out in the ordinances and everything else. I think you need to do that. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for interrupting.
It's okay. We're going to move on with pending and/or new agenda items, starting with ordinance number 68-2012.
I'd like to hold ordinance 68, 2012 at its second reading.
I do need a second.
Second.
And it's an ordinance amending the business regulation code by adding new chapter 794 entitled Hotel Motel Security and Safety.
Moving on, resolution number 70-2012.
I'd like to offer Resolution 70, 2012 for its third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution freezing all family recreation center fees and dues for all Macedonia residents.
I'd like to make a motion to add a deadline to it of 12/31 of 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
2015, sir? You said 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And what's your pleasure?
I move we pass and post Resolution 70, 2012 as amended, put into law.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Mulner?
Resolution 70, 2012 passes. Moving on to ordinance number 71, 2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 71, 2012 for its second reading by title only.
An ordinance amending section 117905 of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia in order to prohibit all electric signs.
Moving on, ordinance number 73-2012.
I'd like to offer Ordinance 73, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment of Aaron Clellan to the position of full-time sergeant.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post ordinance 73, 2012, according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Barker?
I like these ones. Congratulations, Sergeant. Yes.
Ms. Darrell?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Congratulations, Sergeant. Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Chief, could we, or I'm sorry, Lieutenant Yakupovich, would you mind introducing him and his family?
Aaron Colin's been with the police department for 16 years. He's always done a great job for us. We're very excited to have him in this new capacity as a sergeant. I know he's going to do a great job. Mayor, had you planned, do we have a oath? Were we planning on swearing him in here? Or if not, I know I have a badge in my pocket if you would be willing to present that to him.
I would like to come down to the front so everybody can see Aaron and you and me together here. Yeah.
No, I don't have, I could probably go print one or something.
Photo op.
Photo op. We need a photo op.
Aaron, when your mother gave you birth, how much did you weigh? Do you recall?
You got cameras. The cameras.
Stand right up here.
Okay. Congratulations. Thank you. One of the best officers I've ever known in my whole life. Thank you very much. Very, very much.
All right.
I'm going to take Aaron over to get his new goal.
Absolutely.
Great. He really, really is somebody professional that represents us well at all times. Moving on to ordinance number 74-2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance number 74, 2012 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance instituting the senior snowplow removal program for the 2012-2013 winter season.
All right, moving on to ordinance 75, 2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance number 75, 2012 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance to supplement the codified ordinances of the City of Macedonia by enacting new section 331.44, prohibiting the use of wireless handsets to text message while driving or with driving.
All right, I would just like to interject about this one, folks, that the state and the county both have ordinances regarding this texting while driving, and they're very, very, very stiff. So you want to be real careful you don't get caught, because mandatory sentencing for your first offense is a $100 fine. Ouch. 90-day suspension of your license. Double ouch. All right, ordinance number 76-2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 76, 2012 for first reading by title only.
Second.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a Macedonia Occupancy Program grant agreement with Arlington Valley Farms LLC.
Thank you. There's nobody here from Arlington. I thought I saw the owner. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's move right on to ordinance 77, 2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 77, 2012 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance amending ordinance 100/1999, adjusting the full-time compensation of the position of mayor effective the first day of the next mayoral term, that being December 1, 2015, in order to account for the cost of living increases and to compare more closely with adjacent communities.
Moving on, ordinance number 78, 2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 78, 2012 for first, second, and third reading by title only.
All in favor? Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a purchase and installation agreement with Newell Equipment relative to 2 stainless steel dump truck bodies.
What's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we post and pass and post according to law ordinance 78, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
No.
And Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ordinance 78, 2012 passes. Okay, are there any other legislative actions or motions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to rescind, sunset the right of the Macedonia Economic Development Committee to operate, volunteer, or function within the city of Macedonia on city property or on behalf of the city.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Moving on to any other motions or legislative actions?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. Well, actually, before I make the motion, we've been talking a lot lately about communication devices for council, mayor, and the clerk. We've had an exorbitant number of requests for documents and things of public knowledge. So we've been looking into some type of device to allow us to communicate, whether it be an iPad or a Kindle or something of that nature, where we have all of our documents saved into one thing and we can access those at any time. So we've looked at the cost. We found that, Scott, I think it was fairly small
$600 per unit.
per unit.
What are these for, iPads?
Yes, sir.
I already own an iPad.
I'll never own an iPad. So
Would
you can save it on me.
Would we eliminate all this,
We would eliminate the paperwork, which
how about our council packets? Do they not have to be delivered anymore?
they won't need them anymore.
So we
Everything
get
will be
everything
electronic.
electronically, it's all archived?
Right, many communities are going to this. Ms. Darrow has actually been looking into it as well, looking at other communities. They have programs for government type of work where you can have everything all in one. It sorts the files, anything can be pulled up at any time. It's not a shuffle of paperwork anymore. And it kind of brings us into modern technology.
What's the cost for the monthly service for this type of thing that Ms. Darrow's investigated?
It might just be able to piggyback on our server, I believe.
If there's just a wireless version, I think that it's just whatever your internet connection is, right? Is that right? I mean,
Yes, I believe so.
Scott, could you be so kind as to provide us with a cost estimate? We can take a look at it at the next
Yes,
meeting.
I have that. I'll email that to you.
Thank you very much, Scott. Then we
Thank
can consider it then.
I think we've already been provided that, Ken. There was actually an email that went out to all of us about that.
I'm not sure that I saw it, but
I could send it again too, Ken, and then,
let me take a look at it. Next week would be much better time.
Well,
Hudson is gonna send me some information on just what they just purchased as well, and they're gonna get us the price on it, so I'm gonna add to it.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about a couple,
All
got a
right.
football game tonight.
he's got a motion on that.
he's got a motion on the floor, and that's just to bring forth legislation.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve that. Sounds like a good idea to me. Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, moving on to correspondence to the clerk.
I have two, sir. One is a thank you note from Lloyd and Ruby Schofield regarding EMS responders Lieutenant Chip Davis, Joe Natale, Dave Chesnick, and Dave Aberth, thanking them for the July 12th response regarding her husband Lloyd, who fell, and these fellows responded quickly, professionally, and with the greatest care. Then Mr. Martin asked me to read an email he received from former council member Peggy Spraggins. This is regarding the deposit box, the deposit boxes, donation boxes. Ken, I saw the council meeting about your stand on the clothing donation box. I want to let you know that you are absolutely correct. Not only are they an eyesore in the community, since they are big, ugly boxes, and most times the contents are not collected promptly, so people leave bags outside, which looks like trash. When I was working in Copley, we also had problems with Planet Aid boxes. I did some checking and found out that this is a $29 million company. They sell the clothes to the third world countries, and all the products are shipped overseas. While that may sound noble, it is not. It's a business. Think about it. They don't pay the fee to place their boxes anywhere. They don't get a permit. Most times they are in the right-of-way, like the ones on Northfield Road. When you have a business like Goodwill located right here in our community, paying taxes, hiring employees who also pay taxes, this is a no-brainer. I hope the rest of the council and the city support what you are trying to do relative to these boxes. I can't think of one positive aspect of having them in our community. In Copley, we were prohibiting them through our zoning code. I hope you can do the same. Regards, Peggy Spraggins.
I just want to thank former Councilwoman Spraggins for that kind letter. At the last council meeting, we had 2 residents here who shilled for placing these boxes all over the city, despite their very less than apt appearance. I was also contacted too by a gentleman from Goodwill who told me that Goodwill is in favor of eliminating these boxes because they are affecting their collections. And despite what the 2 residents pointed out at the last council meeting, these are for-profit companies. They're not charitable companies or charitable organizations like the Salvation Army, Purple Heart, or Goodwill. So I want to thank council for passing that ordinance and for moving the city ahead. Thank you.
All right, anything else, Josephine?
No, sir.
Thank you. I would also like to thank Ken Martin for bringing it to my attention that Herb Page, the owner of Windmill Golf here in Macedonia, is being inducted into the National Golf Owners Association Hall of Fame. Herb is an outstanding golf coach and is being recognized as such. Congratulations to Herb, and what a catch for Macedonia to have a man like Herb having a course in our town. We will be doing road improvements as best we can through the preceding weeks until the asphalt plants close for the winter. Try and keep in mind that more roads have been fixed recently than ever before in Macedonia. Both huge jobs and small are being done as best and as quickly as possible. Your elected officials are always walking a tightrope. We're trying to reach the goal of having a sound infrastructure, yet staying within the budget. A lot has happened since Kennedy was our president. Unfortunately, some of our roads were not fixed since then, so we're playing catch-up as best as we can. I'm happy to report there have been no murders due to road rage yet. The traffic situation is trying to be addressed with the closing of northbound I-271 ramp. That will be Saturday. Many people are completely unaware that traffic coming from the west has a ramp to get on I-271 north right next to Bob Evans. Going there will alleviate the congestion on 82. Another new company and new ventures coming to town. Arlington Farms is locating on Highland Road to begin producing a completely new and unique product. Who knows? This product might take off, become the best thing since sliced bread. More details will be forthcoming. I wish them some success, and I wish them welcome to Macedonia. I put the Senior Citizen Center on schedule that will have me calling and asking for a meeting with our neighbors, Northfield Center, Sagamore Hills, Boston Heights, in 2 weeks. This hurdle will have representatives from Nordonia Hills community sitting at the table to just discuss the pros and cons of this concept. I am inviting council to have a representative to be involved in moving forward. This is strictly a we thing moving forward from here. Just the other day, I met with Jesse Nehas of Northfield and Mayor Kevin Hurst from Walton Hills to discuss the metamorphosis of our communities. There will be many changes to the area encompassed in the municipalities we three represent. We need to start thinking of how we will deal with having a Racino coming and a Ford plant leaving. That's a staggering concept. Losing property value, yet gaining property value. We need to forge a relationship between us that means we will all be on the same page as one source of revenue ends and another develops. If anybody has a crystal ball, please contact me, because the future could be absolutely fantastic, but we've got to do it the right way. It's going to be a very, very, and hopefully exciting resurgence in this area. A lot of homes in this area were built because of the Ford plant coming to Walton Hills in the 1950s. Slowly but surely, it's been going away. Year or two, it'll be gone. By the way, our Congressman La Tourette, was the only one that heeded Mayor Kevin Hurst's cries for help. What are we going to do? He actually flew Kevin to Washington to meet with the people from Ford. What a congressman. I have returned to the executive board and once again attending the meetings of the Summit County Mayors Association. Right now, the association is pursuing grant money for dealing with brownfield properties. So far, we've been able to secure $600,000 to take care of abandoned, contaminated soil in our communities. The association is also sending a contingent of mayors and local businessmen to China in an effort to get our county listed as a desirable site for future expansion. I don't know if anybody follows the Akron Beacon Journal and Mayor Pasquale, but he's been doing this for years, and he's had very much success with international economic development for Akron. Moving on, are there any committee reports tonight?
Just that the Planning Commission will meet a special meeting. I believe that date, Mayor, is October 15th, is that correct?
I believe, yes.
Yeah. To consider a sign for a new tenant in the Macedonia Commons. That'll take place at 5:30.
The Parks and Recreation Committee met on Wednesday, and we went over the legislation that was on the agenda today, and we worked out amongst ourselves. It was a good meeting. The next one is, I'm sorry.
Not till November.
November, okay. All right, thank you.
Any other committee reports? There was a meeting of the Safety Committee tonight, and we're looking into some replacements and bringing our safety forces up to par. Moving on to department reports. Jim?
Yes, service crews are currently working in the rec center parking lot. We rented what's called a Durapatch machine, and we're trying to do some repairs to that lot to make it a little bit more user-friendly, get rid of some of that standing water that's up there, and try to correct some of the severe alligator cracking that's going on the pavement there. I'd like to announce leaf collection will begin Monday, October 22nd. Route, guidelines, and crew whereabouts will be listed on the city website daily. Got some good news. Salt costs went down. Last year we were paying $44.67 a ton. This year it is $37.13 a ton. Savings is $7.54. I'd like to thank council for passing the ordinance relative to the two dump bodies we asked for. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mike?
Yes, I'll be brief. New home starts 31, homes under construction 52. I gave council a list of the 2012 occupancies so far. 28 alterations on residential, 236 point of sales, 53 rentals, and 285 zoning letters sent out. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Angela?
Hi, I would just like to remind everyone we only have 2 weeks left of our farmers market, so I encourage people to visit our local vendors in the Home Depot parking lot on Tuesdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Thank you.
Scott?
No report tonight.
Tim?
No report, Mayor.
Vince?
I would just like to thank council for confirming the appointment of Sergeant Cleland. That's all, Mayor.
Nick?
Just to reiterate what you had mentioned, Mayor, the left turn to 271 off of 82 will be closed by Saturday morning. Bruce Road and Bavaria Road improvements will be starting in the beginning of October, and the Regional Sewer District Stormwater Program starts in January 2013. Commercial properties, if you haven't already, you'll be receiving correspondence from the Sewer District, and residential properties should be getting notices in November, maybe December. So.
Residential properties will be getting notices. They will have to pay fees. But Nick will have various ways you can get credits in our messenger.
Correct.
So,
Sewer District is still working out what the details of the fee credits are going to involve. They're issuing a draft policy to what has been previously drafted up, so that will not be formalized for the next couple of months, and we will have information available on the city's website.
very good. Tom? All right.
Excuse me, Mayor. It took about 4 minutes for our department head reports. Can our finance director tell me how much that cost us?
Sir, how much what?
How much it costs to have all these department heads here for this meeting for 4 minutes worth of reports?
I would have to figure that out.
$1,000? Is it $500 in comp time to have them here at this meeting?
Based on maybe $40 an hour, $200.
All right, now, is there anything that we can do where, especially if they don't have a report, we don't need them here, or if there is a report that can be read by somebody, so they wouldn't have to be here and thus take time off from their busy schedule on other times?
Sure. I mean, that would be council's choice. I mean, I don't speak for everyone, but most people comp time it. So if they spend an hour here, they just take an hour off. They might come in later or earlier today. So really the cost of the city, as far as salary people is the same.
In other words, does it cost the taxpayers any extra
No.
to have the department heads here?
Not really, sir, because it's salary, and if I'm speaking for myself, the 2 or 3 hours extra that I stay when I come for the work session and then the council meeting, I'll bank that time and then take it out later as a vacation time or add on to it. So there's no, as far as I'm
So the
concerned.
value of what is communicated from this meeting or these meetings to the people who are watching at home would supersede any inconvenience that there might be in the schedule for these people to come.
I believe so.
I know it's been tradition.
I believe having a department heads here to answer the council's questions for 2 times a month is relative, and I think it's worthwhile to have them. That's my opinion.
And do the department heads, are they also available to spectators or visitors? Can a person from the general public ask a question of our department heads directly during
This meeting?
some time of the meeting?
That's protocol, whatever council elects to do.
So at this point, though, at this moment, if someone came up to talk during public comments, they could address a department head in that comment, or are they only addressing council and the mayor?
I don't know. I think that we've, in the past, have questions directed to the department heads,
And they
haven't
were
we?
able to answer them correctly, okay.
Yes.
So there's a value in
Yes.
having the department heads here, other than
In my opinion, it is.
taking up space.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Could I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming, folks. We'll see you next time.